Hello, welcome along to Sportsbet TV with me, Paul Alster. It is really lovely to be here with you. Of course, we're on the eve of the great Royal Ascot meeting, and all roads lead to Berkshire. And 5 days of fantastic sport. And I hope very much that you'll be joining me here at Sportsbet. I'll be giving you probably a couple of tips every day. And remember as well that I'll be at Out in Front premium subscription service where I'll be giving plenty of suggestions across all 5 days. And as I'm sure regular followers know, it's the big meetings in particular where I tend to do very well. So if you've been considering joining us at Out in Front, now is a really good time to do so. You can join us by just clicking on the link below this screen. And I think you'll find it's good value, it's entertaining, it's informative, and also it's been profitable, where 2 of my 4 selections won, one at 16 to 1, one at 17 to 2. So things are really rolling out in front. Now, I hope they're going to keep rolling at Sportsbet. Last week, I just had the 1 selection, and the horse didn't really run as well as hoped. That was Silver Samurai. But we will look forward to some better shouts this weekend. If you happen to be joining us, by the way, for the first time, just press the subscribe button just below this screen. All my tips here at Sportsbet are free, so you can keep in touch with those this weekend through Royal Ascot and moving on through all the summer. And there's plenty to look forward to. Now, what I've done this weekend, a couple of long shots for you. Quite big prices. Indeed, one of them is massive. Because I just think it's worth having a look at some horses that really, I think, can outrun their odds. And the first will be at York in the 340, the 6 furlong, £100,000 Macmillan Sprint handicap. This is a tough race. I mean, you know, most tipsters putting up a couple of selections for the weekend would be looking at horses, you know, at shorter prices, favourites, even odds on some of them, I'm sure. But I'm looking at a 22-runner sprint handicap here, and my choice is big double-figure odds. What I can say to you is that at the time of this recording, they're betting around 8 to 1 the field, and that tells its own story. It's, I wouldn't say a lottery, but loads of horses, indeed most of them, have a chance to win. And amongst them will be Catch the Paddy for Kevin Ryan, who's setting his stall out to try and win this. And this horse ran really well at York over 7 furlongs last month, and he should go close off the £2 higher mark. He was only beaten a neck by Kevin Ryan's Washington Heights is also a horse that is going to be running very seriously for the Yorkshire-based stable, very closely matched with a horse that is just about favourite at 8 to 1, and that is Quino for Stuart Williams. And this one very closely matched with that one on its recent run at Newmarket, and both should be thereabouts. So Kevin Ryan would Catch the Paddy in Washington Heights, Stuart Williams with Quino, but Kevin Ryan also has a horse called Quintus Arias, who won at Hamilton last time, and he won there nicely. It's gone up £6, but it's progressive. Now, in this tough race, you wouldn't want to totally rule out a good run from the top weight. This is Millstream for James Chappell-Hyam. Isn't out of it. Last time it ran was in a Group 2 against Little Big Bear, which for many people is a bit of a banker at Royal Ascot next week. Won't be a big price, I don't think, but Little Big Bear. Now, Millstream was beaten out of sight, but this is quite a drop in class and a different type of a race. So if there's any money for Millstream, it might be significant, while the likes of Chasseral and Dark Kestrel are others with claims. But the horse I'm tipping you is the outsider of the field. Its name is King's Crown. It's trained by Adrian Nichols and is the mount of Andrew Mullen. Now, it is the outsider of the field, but it is certainly not without a chance, in my view anyway, if things drop right. And that's the important factor here. The trip and the ground are absolutely fine, fairly quick ground, and this trip of 6 furlongs. And this horse ran really nicely on his first 2 starts this season. And on that form, he has claims in particular where he showed a lot of speed first time out this season. And that was at Newmarket, where he was a 4-length, 5th of 14. And he led until just fading in the last 100 yards on his first run of the season. Now, I think with this ground much quicker to suit him, he has a really big chance. And I thought he had a big chance at Beverley last Sunday. I really did think he'd go well, but everything that could go wrong did go wrong. And that's why he's such a big price today. But I'm always prepared to forgive a horse one run where things, you know, conspire against it. First of all, they ran for the first time in blinkers, which very often proves to be the source of improvement in a horse. But in this case, it just didn't work because this horse, who's a horse who likes to bowl along up front, he just missed the kick. He must have been slightly relaxed by the blinkers. As they jumped out, he jumped out a length behind and was soon behind a wall of horses and couldn't get to the front. However, even though he's generally a front runner, he did start to stay on quite nicely as they raced down to the 2-pole, but then he was completely blocked and had nowhere to go, and his jockey in the end decided to call it a day. I think that now that they've taken the blinkers off, and they've obviously very clearly decided that he just didn't suit them, he's coming out only 6 days later because, to be honest, he didn't have much of a run because he wasn't able to be ridden out. He was just blocked in. He's well weighted on the pick of his form, including as a very useful 2-year-old and some good form at 3 at times as well. He's drawn in the centre so can follow the pace wherever it happens to be. And his yard is in very good form, that of Adrian Nichols. At the time of this recording, all firms I can see go 4-0, 40 to 1. And that's each way, and Sky Bet pay 7 places, so 40 to 1 each way for 7 places. It wouldn't surprise me that by the time you see this recording, the 50 to 1 might be available. Who knows? And on the machines, then on the exchanges, you know, there could very easily be some silly prices. So, King's Crown for 7 places. Each way 40 to 1 is my first choice at York there in the 340. And then very quickly, I'll take you to my second choice, which is in the finale at York on Saturday, the 525, a 6 furlong handicap, 15 runners, big field again, good to firm ground, loads of horses with chances. One that does have a chance is called As If By Chance, trained by Nigel Tinkler. It was a winner at Windsor, over 6 furlongs in a handicap last time, and I thought it won with just a little bit up its sleeve. It's gone up £4, but it should be right there, and the ground once again is ideal. Now, Adrian Nichols, who trains King's Crown, I forgot the name, I was going to say King's Cross, it's King's Crown. He's got a bait, another of the horses that's been keeping his stable in the forefront of punters' attention of late, because it's won its last 2 starts, right back in form with those wins at Hamilton and Haydock. So going for the hat-trick here, has gone up £6, but Adrian's daughter, Mia Nichols, she's the granddaughter, of course, of the great Dandy Nichols, late great Dandy Nichols, who, of course, rode Sober for David Chapman to win Stewards' Cups and other great races. And she's turning into a really good little jockey, Mia Nichols, and she claims the £7. And the last time this horse has won, she's been on board both occasions. So you wouldn't rule out another big show from a bait, even though it is going up the weights. Michael Appleby, trainer having winners now, has Royal Parade, who's picked up a £5 penalty for a runaway 4-length win at Goodwood over 6 furlongs on Sunday. So he turns it out again fairly quickly. I think this is a much tougher race, though, but at least he is in very good form. But I'd be against Royal Parade. I think this is a tough task. Michael Harrington has a horse, Good Earth. He's a previous course and distance winner, and he won at Beverley over 5 furlongs, that very stiff 5 on good to firm ground last time out, and he's able to run off the same mark. They haven't put him up because that win was in apprentice handicap, and you can't be penalised for victories in apprentice races. And at big odds, well, David O'Mara's veteran Musica could run well back at a track that he likes. And he's got the ground to suit. He's definitely not the force of old. He used to be pretty smart in the handicap company, but he is really well handicapped on the best of his old form. And if he decides to get up ahead of steam and get stuck in, Musica might not be far away. But my choice here is a horse called Gathenfar, who's trained by Tracy Waggart and the mount of David Nolan. Now, this horse, to me, looks to be running into form. And he ran really well, I thought, over course and distance last time. He was 9th of 21 to Bielsa in a Class 2 handicap at the York Dante fixture. He was only beaten 3 lengths, even though he finished in 9th. There was a real bunch of them flashed by the line after the front 4. And that was a class 2, and he's dropping down here to class 4. And it was only in the last 100 yards that he faded. And that was a much better effort than is shown on his previous few runs, and it suggested to me he's beginning to reach concert pitch. Another Brucey bonus is that he's been dropped £2 to a mark of 84. Now, when you think that last season he was a very close fourth to Summergand over this course and distance on good to firm ground in August in a £100,000 race at the Ebor fixture of £8 higher, then you can see why there are quite a few reasons for believing that Gaffanfar can go very well. Now, I believe there's a really good case to be made for him. I've done my best to make it to you. And I think this much weaker race will help. The draw should be fine too, towards the near side. Now, when I first looked at this horse, he was 16 to 1, but there has been money for him. And at the time of this recording, he's now down to 12 to 1 each way. So it looks like a few people are feeling, maybe as I do, that Saturday could be his day. So it's 12 to 1 each way now. Gaffanfar for at least 4 places. Remember to shop around. And he's my second selection for you here at Sportsbet for Saturday. Do remember to have a good look at the options available on Out in Front. Check out the Patreon link just below. It's only £25 a month, and there'll be loads of tips now as we go forward through Royal Ascot and all the big meetings. And there's also no obligation. You're not tied in, so you can leave if you feel you want to do so at any time. And I think we're going to be in for some really exciting times with some daily selections through the big meetings over the next few months. So that's all for this weekend. I'll be back to you with a bulletin on Monday, Wednesday and Friday next week with bulletins for Royal Ascot. And I hope very much you'll join me, and together we'll have a really good crack at the bookies over the next week. Bye-bye for now.